There you go, it's on live.
Okay, it goes over there.
I'm on live. Good morning and welcome to a very dark and gloomy day in South Nutfield. I was hoping for a beautiful summer's day, but we haven't got one. So I'm really pleased that I'm doing this morning. I've dragged myself away from the Olympics. The ladies' seven-a-side rugby was quite good, but not good enough to stop me coming here and doing with you today the most wonderful pudding I can imagine. I really like this pudding. It's a classic British summer pudding, but not so summery. And it's making use of all the lovely berries, all in season. Now, the berry season, my mum always told me, started when Wimbledon started, and it's quite true. So if you think that the peak of the season, the beautiful pot, strawberries, raspberries, everything is ready when Wimbledon's played, and it's just finished, of course. But anyway, so let me introduce you to the ingredients before we start. What I've got here, I'm going to come over here and have a look. We've got some absolutely beautiful strawberries. They're beautifully and ripe and ready to go. They're English, of course. I've got some black currants right here, beautiful black currants, nice and dark and deep. Some black berries, or brambles as they're called. I've got some beautiful, beautiful raspberries. I'll just try one. Now, let me just say something about the raspberries. I've also got some sugar and some other berries for sauce. The raspberries, I would normally use our own beautiful raspberries out of the garden. But we've had some visitors recently in the garden, mainly the deer from the Priory farm behind there. And we found out the other morning that they're eating the damned raspberries. So our lovely raspberry crop has not come through. So anyway, that's the berry part of it. The other ingredient I'm going to use is white bread. It's just an ordinary white bread. Nothing fancy. Don't use sourdough because it won't soak up the juices. It's to soak up the juices. And it was used originally to instead of a pie crust or things like that, but it's really quite a nice product. Right, the first thing I'm going to do is put my induction hob on. I've got my trusty pan. I've got about 150 grams of caster sugar. I'm just going to pop it straight in there like that. We're also going to put a squeeze of lemon juice, fresh lemon juice, in with it. Make sure there's no pips go in it. Very careful with that. Lovely. Now, you can put a drop of water in it, but this morning, going with the summer, I'm going to use summer cup or pins. Just a little drop in there, just to give it a little bit of oomph, if you like, a bit of summery oomph. And just let the sugar melt with the pins. And at this stage, if you wanted to, you can put a little bit of water in as well, just to make a bit more juice, because you need a bit of juice. And I've got some here, I'll just show you here, that I made the other day. It's just to coat the bread when it's finished and everything's ready. So the first thing that's going to go in here are my heavy fruits, my strawberries. So they go in first, just pop them in. I've cut mine up because we're quite big, and I've just made them a bit easier to handle. So they go in first, the very first thing that go in. And as you can see already, the colour of the strawberries is coming out. It's starting to smell again. I really wish I had smell-o-vision here. There's no smell-o-vision, but it's starting to really, really come up nicely. So just leave them in there for a while. Now, whilst your fruit is cooking, you can get your bread ready in a mould. to mould your pudding basin. This is a traditional English pudding basin, quite a big one. What I've done is I've cut the bread and lined the mould. Just make sure this isn't too bad. Melting down. Oh, it's starting to juice up, lovely. The juice is coming out as well. Right, so you align the mould with it. Make sure it's overlapping bread, there's no gaps. If there are any gaps with it, just fill it in. Put a little bit of bread in and fill it in. Make sure it's quite firm and against the bowl, so there's no gaps. Right, and that's the bread. Quite simple thing to do. Now, the next berry that are going to go in are the black currants rather. So I'll put them in there. They'll go straight in. Black currants go straight in. Oh, I really like this bit. Now, just wait for a minute. You don't have to cook them too long, but you just want the bubbles, the black currants to burst a little bit. Give them a little, so all the juices come out. Next, I'm going to add my blackberries and the juice with them. They look really nice now. It's starting to look really summery, isn't it? Oh. So that's nice and steady. I don't know if they've got anyone live. Have we got anyone watching? Stephen's watching live. That is absolutely lovely. Now, the last thing to go in, the last fruit to go in will be the raspberries. Why? Because the raspberries are the softest and they can go to a mush if you're not careful. So we'll just add our raspberries in here. I'm just going to try one, by the way. Beautiful. So I'm going to put nearly all of them in. I'll have a few for garnish, so we'll just leave that there. So look at all the juice that's come out of them now. Don't worry about the juice. We're going to use it all. Right, I'm going to switch my gas off, my induction hob off now, just to let it steep there for a while. Now, can you smell that? Can we taste it? Let's have a little taste. I'll try one of the raspberries and the strawberries. Be very careful. Beautiful taste of the British summer, ready to go into the pudding. Right, I'll now fill my bowl up. Careful. Now, just pop in your fruit. Try and save the juices, or some of the juices. Just pop it in like so. Oh, look at that. Don't worry about it. And as it goes in, just slightly push it down a little bit so it releases the juices into the bread. So it takes quite a lot of fruit in this bowl. It's a classic pudding basin. Can you see that? That's going in. Beautiful, 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 beautiful. Now, anybody who thought they couldn't cook a summer pudding can now see how simple they are. There we go. Now, the other thing is to make sure that you keep and reserve some juices, because when it comes out, I'll show you why. But just push it down when you got it in there. And that's about as full as it should be. Now, the next thing we're going to do is put the top on. Just fold the bread in. If there's any bread outside, like there is, just fold it down a little bit inside. You don't have to fold it down, but it's sometimes easier. So that goes like so. And now I add the top. You put a top on there. Try and cover the whole lot. And that one goes across like so. and there's a little bit left, so the good thing about white bread is it's quite easy to make malleable, and this is nice and malleable. Right, so that's my pudding ready to go. Not to eat, but it's got it in the fridge now. Now I will need a little something to hold it down, so I'm using a saucer. Let's put the saucer on like so. Can you see that? Now you're going to need a little weight on top, so you get a can of whatever or something to put on top, put it like that and pop it in the fridge. Wait a while because it's still quite hot, so we'll put that to one side. Now the moment of truth is about to come, and here's one I made earlier, because it has to sit in the fridge for about 5 or 6 hours, if not overnight, to make all those juices come through and make the bread nice and soft and ready to go. So let's, this is the bit that's always tricky, the tipping out of the pudding. Now, here's the one I made earlier, and I'll just take the top off. And as you can you see how the bread is nice and soaked in lovely syrup? Now, when you want to get your pudding out, just gently put your palette knife in the side. Try not to make a hole in the bread. Let's hope they haven't. It's just going to help it pop out, we hope. This is always the nerve-wracking bit, isn't it? I heard a chef say, who used to cook for the Queen, he said, can you imagine just about to serve dinner or lunch at Balmoral and popping it out and going wrong? So we put the plate on top, turn out the pudding, and we're going to rather hope. There you go, look at that. Now, and that's why I kept the juices, because of this. Because some of it's still a little bit white, so there's some juice in here. And this is my trusty pastry brush. I promise you I haven't been using it to do any painting with whatsoever. It's a brand new brush I only ever use for doing this. And you're just going to paste it a bit like so. Can you see it? I'm just going to make it a little bit darker. Oh, I quite like this bit. It's quite a good feeling. So there we go. Look at that. I love this juice. And that's the summer pudding ready to go on the table. Now, what do we serve it with? Now, controversy. I won't serve any of it to my daughter because she doesn't like it. She hates summer pudding, and I can't understand why. I cannot understand why she dislikes summer. Nobody should dislike it. Nothing to dislike about it. Put a few more fruits on, a few more berries and red currants. Does that look nice? My camera woman is salivating. That's the pudding. I normally have red currants as well, but we're out of red currants. Completely out of the garden of red currants. Now, when you serve this as a pudding, you can serve it with a number of things. Now, we have today 2 types of cream. One is double cream from Langley Vale Farm, and one is Jersey single cream from Langley Vale Farm. Or, as Peter Kelly always insisted, that was my old boss, you only ever serve summer pudding with cold custard, Chris. So, in honour of Mr. Peter Kelly, we're going to serve it with some cold custard. And no, I didn't make it myself because I didn't have time. But anyway, right, shall we have a look in the pudding? Let's have a look. Look at that soft. Oh, it's coming out now. If Stephen Hargreaves is watching, there's a portion here for you and Evie whenever you want. That's my neighbour, by the way. Can you see? All those lovely fruits coming out. Red currants, raspberries, strawberries. Right, let's have a little bit of custard on it and see how it goes. There's the cold custard. And I'm going to have a taste. The best bit of the day is the proof of the pudding is in the eating. So let's try a bit. Oh, it is so, so good. A beautiful way to use strawberries up. That is so, so nice. I'm going to put it down and say cheerio, because I'm going to have to give a portion to Mrs. Davies, who's doing the camera and smiling like a Cheshire cat because she knows she's got some pudding. Thank you very much for listening. Now, I'm going to put the video up. It'll be on Facebook. It will also be on YouTube. So if you get a chance, have a look at Cooking with Chris Davies on YouTube. It'd be really nice if you could have a look at it. You could even subscribe to the channel. It doesn't cost you anything. It's all free, so it's wonderful. The recipes on there are extensive. Have a great day, behave yourself, and take care.